Welcome in. What a beautiful Monday. We got Monday night football coming up. This is the bottom line with El Heffe. I am El Heffe. Debut show. I've been wanting to do a serious show for a while. I do some goofy stuff here on the network, then mostly focus on the sports. So going forward, we're going to do this Monday nights, building up to football on Monday during the football season. And then we'll find another excuse to go live on Mondays when football season's over. But I don't like to think about football season being over, so we're not going to force that too soon, you know? All right, this is the bottom line. I am El Jefe. Now, you get to participate in this show if you wish. You can comment on YouTube or X. Our handle on both are at 12OZ Sports. If you do comment on either platform, I think X will show up in the studio. I'll display it because we want your opinions. We want your questions. If you are really feeling cheeky, you can call us 330-800-4219. It's a Google Voice number, so it's free. And if you're really feeling ballsy, you can email us at 12ouncesports@gmail.com, and I'll let you come in the studio for a limited time. If you come on naked or something, then we're going to have to kick you off. But we like serious sports talk. We like some jokes here and there. Now, I usually don't wear the headphones, but, we're willing to take some calls if you want to call in. I don't know. It's the debut show. We really didn't advertise, so who knows if anybody will actually call in. But hopefully in the future, we build a little bit of an audience and people will chime in. That would be great. Other than commenting or participating in the show, you can buy the host a cup of coffee. We have super chat, super thanks, super stickers in the YouTube comments for as little as $2. Just a little wrinkle. And I'm sitting here on this Monday and I'm thinking, what's even happening in the world? No, I'm not talking about the voting. I'm not talking about the election. I'm talking about Happy Sports Equinox Day. For us sports fans, this is a beautiful day where all worlds collide. NHL, NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL football. It's the equinox, and I hope you're celebrating. Now, normally on Thursdays, I like to have a couple bubblies. I'm just drinking coffee and water tonight, but I am celebrating Happy Sports Equinox Day. All kinds of sports going on. We're going to do a little shallow end look at the Monday Night Football game at the end of this show. Typically, we're just going to go through some opinionated sports talk. And again, if you're just joining live, you can participate. So feel free to comment, call in, or email the show, and we'll send you a link. You can join us right here in the studio. It'll be a good time. All right, we're going to start kind of a vague topic, but I thought it was interesting. I was thinking about this on my drive today. The modern athletes, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay, a lot going on. It's a whole different era. I'm old. I'm going to be 51 in a month, and I'm thinking back to the old time. Now, a lot has happened that's good for sports. It's not all bad news, by the way. I'm not the old guy yelling at the clouds. Why do these athletes do this? It's just things I notice along the way with the modern athletes that I never thought I'd see. I guess we're going to start with, I kind of find it humorous, but I don't know how teams feel about it, but I'm going to give you an example here, and I want you to chime in. We're talking about a 2-5 versus a 1. I can't just do one good thing on a Monday morning and walk down the hall doing some kind of, the Dougie or whatever. So I find it funny, though. I mean, it doesn't ruin my experience. I don't stop watching sports because of it, but I do find it comical that guys nowadays are a little bit more interested in their own personal brand and not so much the team. You can be on a 1-6 football team going nowhere. Season's virtually over at this point, and you get a sack and you bust out into a rendition of Cats on Broadway as if you guys just won the Super Bowl. So that's definitely a different glimpse into modern athletes versus what I saw in the past athletes. Now, you had some guys in the past. Heck, Deion Sanders, I mean, I'm old, but I still watched him play in his prime. He kind of started it. He kind of triggered it. I want to know what you say if you have a take on modern athletes. Are they out of control with all this? I had a buddy text me during the Browns game a few weeks ago, and he says it looks like they practice their dance routines more than they did football plays. But again, I'm not I'm not so much crapping on the modern athlete. I'm not saying I don't watch sports because of it. I just find it interesting behavior that almost like there's no shame. Like, but I think it's really they're building their own brand. They're going on Instagram. They sell things. They're spokesmen, so they got to put on that show. But another thing about modern athletes, though, is sometimes they're not very aware of their surroundings. Like, we're going to go to the Bears game, okay? And I'm going to talk over these videos so we don't get red flagged on YouTube, but he's taunting the crowd. The game's not over. Has he seen Hail Marys? Does he know that you can still run a play and win the game? But I'm going to run that back a little bit. He's not even in position. He's taunting the crowd, pointing at people, celebrating, and the snap just occurred. Now that's one thing you can call me the old man yelling at the clouds, but then he runs over, tips it, and you all know the rest of the story. You watch if you're watching this, you watch sports, I presume. But he can see him running into the screen there. But you could say, well, that was going to happen. You don't know that was going to happen anyway. I mean, he's not very aware of his surroundings. He's sitting there taunting the crowd, and there's still a play to go. Again, you can call me the old man yelling at the clouds. You can call me, whatever, old, whatever. You would have never seen that 15, 20 years ago. I think it's more of you have to show some things now that you didn't have to in the past. It's not enough anymore to get your salary and play football, play sound football. You have to put on a show aside from, and these guys are amazing athletes. We'll get into that here in a minute. But this kind of activity is more and more prevalent. And then you get things like post game of the Cowboys, when you have a Cowboys player telling a reporter something about
how that whole play, that's what you took from that. You don't know football. You can't do nothing that I do. You can't go out there and do nothing. Stay in your lane, buddy. Stop playing with me, bro.
Just asking a question, Trayvon. I mean, I'm happy to have you answer the question.
Out of that whole play, that's what you took for that? That's what you got from that whole play, that's what you got from that?
I'm asking you.
Now, look, okay. Do they take a lot of scrutiny? They sure do. They sure do. And sometimes journalists, there's no firewall for journalists. They can just say whatever they want. They can make things up. They can slander the guy. I get it. But there's got to be somebody in the front office of the Cowboys that tells Diggs, this guy's not that important to you. Everybody on the planet's not reading his articles, and the ones that do read his articles, they're not. I would hope the readers are questioning what he writes about Diggs and does their own research or forms their own opinion. But to go up to a reporter after a loss and have that interaction, I don't think can happen. And this is, I think, a new thing to me. Again, I'll be 51 in a month. Did athletes argue with journalists in the past? Yeah, I'm sure they did. But that was a wild exchange there. That's the bad part of the modern athlete. The good part of the modern athlete is, I don't know why I put the ugly, but there's no ugly. But the good part about the modern athlete is we get to see the most fine-tuned, strong, fast, athletic athletes. I've never seen anything like it before. We have arguments on 12 on Sports with some of the personalities that, oh, Jordan's better than LeBron. But I just had this talk actually with my girlfriend. She doesn't really watch sports, but we were talking about that. And I said, it's a tough thing to argue because as great as Jordan was, I don't remember a basketball player being built like LeBron. He can play any position. He could probably play football. He did in high school, but he's just a different animal, and he's just one of many that are, Wimbiana. That's another one. You had a guy that tall and that athletic and can dribble like that. In the 80s, I don't think you had one. I don't think we would have been like, is this guy an alien? He's just another player now. So that's the good of modern athletes. We're seeing the best you could ever see. There's no, the slow guys are the linemen these days, and even linemen are fast. If you ever go to an NFL game, defensive linemen, there's a reason why it's so hard to get to the edges in the running game in the NFL. They're all fast. They're all fast. Okay, so why I started or I prefaced this with some of the bad stuff, the showboating when you're 1-6 or not being very aware of your surroundings and celebrating a win that didn't happen yet and the other team was running a play. You got the good. You got the good. You got these guys that are like machines. And we're really privileged as fans to be able to witness that in person. It's just incredible. Every sport you turn on, I mean, you could turn on a soccer match and see these guys running 4.1 40s for an hour and a half straight. It's actually, I mean, I feel privileged. I mean, to be able to witness this crop, and I wonder where it's going. Who knows? But that was my thought today. Yeah, I think of things like that. Driving home, I have an hour drive home every day. I thought of the modern athlete. Like, we're really lucky. As much as some of us older fans complain about the showboating and the promoting your own brand, and some of the kind of the off-field stuff and even the on-field stuff. I mean, aside from that complaint, what we get to witness every day, especially days like this, Happy Sports Equinox Day, is it used to be rare in the 80s and 90s to see. I mean, you could turn on any game and there's 15 athletes like that, whereas if just one of them appeared 20 years ago, you went, whoa, this guy's amazing. So we're lucky to see that. The other thing I wanted to talk about, well, I wanted to get into salaries, but I don't know if that's really goes along with this. We'll get into it with the next topic. Major League Baseball, they're in the World Series, Dodgers, Yankees. I heard a lot of people complaining, they have all the money. Of course, they're there. I have a stat for you. Maybe I'll do the stat last. Well, let's do the stat first. Did I pull it up? Oh, I hope I did. Oh, yeah, it's in this one. So we're going to bring up the salary cap. I got to take the graphic off. So these were the highest payrolls in 2024. You'll see the Yankees were 2, the Dodgers were 5. So if your argument is they paid their way to the championship, presumably the Mets and Yankees would be in the World Series. Okay, yes, 2 of the top 5 made the World Series, but you had the Guardians. I mean, they really didn't give the Yankees a challenge, but that was up in the air going into that series. Plus, here is the stat that caught my attention. With no salary cap, and I know you can read, but I'm going to read it for you. With no salary cap, Major League Baseball has had 16 different World Series champions since 2000. That's more teams that have won a title in that time than the NBA, NFL, or NHL, all of which have salary caps. What's more, every Major League Baseball team, I always wonder if I want to say the acronym or read it out loud. Sorry about that. Tongue-tied. It's Monday. Every team has made at least one playoff appearance in the last 10 seasons. The same cannot be said in the NFL or NHL, despite both leagues having larger playoff fields. So, while you may think all this money is giving them an advantage, and maybe it is, and maybe they're tougher top to bottom 1 through 9 in the lineup, it's not producing, 2 or 3 dynasties. It's actually, they got more combination of champions than any other league. That's pretty impressive. And every team's made at least one playoff appearance in 10 seasons. I know a lot of football fans that wish they said their teams made a playoff in the last 10 seasons. Somehow the Browns did last year. Yes, I'm in Ohio, so I'm a Browns fan. No shame. Jameis Winston. We're going to talk about the Browns at the end. Just real quick, we're going to pay homage to the voice of the Browns. But yeah, I found that interesting. So when we're saying, does baseball need a salary cap? I don't know that they do. I mean, when we get championships with 2 of the most high-profile teams in the league, we start having that talk. But data or history shows that it's not affecting, the competition. You still got to go out and win. And again, if you're watching this, thank you for tuning in. It's the debut show. We'll advertise this more, fine-tune it. But you can participate, comment on YouTube or X. I think I'll see them on X. One of our network guys said if they comment on X, I'll see it in the studio. So we'll see. Or YouTube, that's the best way. Or you can call the show, 330-800-4219. Call the old El Heffe. If you're really feeling ballsy, you can come in the virtual studio. So So I'm getting back to the salary cap. Does baseball needs a strong word though? I don't know if they need a salary cap. We kind of laid out there why we don't really need one. But I wanted to get in, and I was going to do this last subject, but I'm going to do it now. When we're talking about salaries, I also found this interesting. Okay, as I was thinking through the salary cap issue, and I think we kind of established baseball doesn't really need a salary cap after the stat I just showed you. But then I looked at average annual player salary in the sports industry. The NBA is number one. Now you're going to say, I know what your argument's going to be. Baseball and football have much larger rosters. Yes, I get that. But the NBA is cashing in. Now, if you can't see what number two is, I wish I had a live caller to have them guess. Apparently, it's the Indian Premier League. And I think I saw this last year too. And I forgot about it, but it's still staggering that a cricket league in India they have the second highest average annual player salary in sports, in pro sports in the world. But NBA dominates that. Now, if you look, we're talking about, does Major League Baseball need a salary cap? They're third, okay? And they have a lot bigger rosters than the NBA. So that tells you they have a lot more money to spend, and they're spending it pound for pound, player for player, than the EPL, which is huge, NFL, NHL, which we always knew. I don't know why NHL is below La Liga on that list, because they're slightly higher than La Liga. And then you get into a lot of soccer leagues there: Serie A, Bundesliga, Liga 1. I think CSL is the Canadian Soccer League, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. So again, the question is, does baseball need a salary cap? I think you'd have more of a case that they needed one if that Major League Baseball graph there was just berserk and doubling the NBA. And again, the obvious, the NBA has what, 12, 15 man rosters at the most. I think 15 is probably college. I think they have 12 man rosters, maybe. I don't know. Let's say 15. 8 million per guy, is much less money than, 4 million per baseball's got, I think, close to 30, maybe in the low 30s. So that's where when you see graphics like this, that, oh my God, the Mets spent 317 million. Yeah, but their players average less per year than NBA players average. So it's just the size of the roster. So having a salary cap could be tricky in the MLB because of the roster size. It could get tricky. A salary cap would lower wages. I hate to use wages. Lower salaries, and could diminish the quality. It could lose players to other leagues. I don't know what other league, but I think the Korean League's big. But I don't know that Major League Baseball really wants one at that point. Because they're not dominating salaries. So there you go. And if you think, because I started out sounding like the old man yelling at the clouds. If you think, these players make too much money, you could make that case for certain players, but I also noticed this. Here's how much they really make. Okay, so obviously they pay federal income tax, 10 to 37%. They pay state income tax, although they don't. Florida athletes don't. That I remember that was one advantage to LeBron James going to the Miami Heat. Somebody said, he won't owe sales tax anymore. Let's see. Jock tax. That's an interesting term there. They pay it. I'm getting text. Sorry. Jock tax. Professional athletes must pay taxes in every state where they play a game. Interesting. FICA, of course, everybody pays that, I think. And then agent fees, which apparently agent fees, NFL charge 1.5% to 3%. That's the maximum allowed. NBA agents charge 2 to 4. That's the maximum. And then MLB about 3 to 5%. So when all the smoke clears, now again, we're not thinking of the LeBron James or the Aaron Judges. We're thinking of the average, or we're thinking of the league minimum. They only bring home 40 to 50% in total. So yeah, is 400 grand a lot for a league minimum I don't know if that's what the practice squad or the league minimum in the NFL is. But 400 grand is a really good corporate job in New York or a city somewhere. But they could get seriously injured, right? And they have a lot more pressure. They got the press meeting them in the hallway, like we showed earlier. And then you get in a cussing match, and then the corporate fires you. That's not going to happen, and that's not going to happen in the NFL. But that's what they bring home, right there. So for what they do now, if they're playing a game, you could argue, oh, they're playing a game, and that's a lot of money to play a game. But yeah, their bodies on the line. They're always in the spotlight. You think it's easy to go to the grocery store as a pro athlete? So when we factor all that in, does the Major League Baseball organization want to put a cap on salaries, lower those wages even more, knowing now? Does that change your mind? Does it change the argument? If you were for a salary cap, does your mind change knowing that the average salaries go down with a cap, and then they only get about 40 to 50% of their salary after all those taxes, the jock tax? What the heck is it sounds made up. I wonder where that money goes to. I wonder if it goes to education or what. Oh boy. The bottom line is, and that's the name of the show, the bottom line is, I don't think Major League Baseball is broke. I don't think you should fix it. I'll show you the note again. They've had more combination of champions than any other league since 2000. So if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? That's what I say. We'll be right back. Bottom line with El Heffe. Before we go to the commercial, I'm just going to remind you, you can comment on YouTube or X. The handle on both is at 12OZ Sports. You can call me 330-800-4219, toll free, Google Voice, or email 12ouncesports@gmail.com, and I'll invite you into the studio. You can come right in as long as you're dressed appropriately. All right, we'll be right back. The bottom line on a Monday night. Beautiful. Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them. Yeah. Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right. At 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Welcome back into the bottom line with El Heffe. I am El Heffe. Got the headphones on because I'm taking calls. If you feel like calling, I know it's the debut show. Probably not going to get inundated with calls. It's not like I put $1 million on advertising. I didn't even put a penny on advertising. It's just going live. Hey, we're having fun. If you do want to participate, though, and you're watching, you can comment on YouTube or X, call the show, or email us, and I'll let you into the studio. All right, we're moving along. We build this up to Monday Night Football. Get off the air because I know you're going to watch the football game, not me. Plus, I'll be about done talking by then anyway. Speaking of Monday Night Football and the big production, I didn't even look what channel it's going to be on, but I'm thinking, is there a sports TV deal bubble? Because if you look at some of these, and I apologize, I'm gonna go on and see where this is airing tonight. It's probably obvious. I think it's always ESPN, isn't it? We'll look at it here. Yeah, of course. Okay, it's Monday Night Football. Duh. I saw somebody ask if on Facebook if anybody had an ESPN Plus login that they could borrow. How do you borrow an ESPN Plus login? You have it. Well, I guess you could change your password, but once you give it away, I mean, they could change it themselves and then really screw you. But is there a sports TV deal bubble a lot like the housing bubble? These contracts, and I know these TV deals are so big that it's forced several rounds of layoffs from ESPN. And, the other networks are trying to compete. So their contracts are getting bigger and bigger. At some point, there's a point of diminishing returns where you just don't have enough advertising opportunity. Well, they probably haven't maximized the advertising opportunity. So they're spending all this money. I'm going to show you a graphic of how much they spend to get these games under their belt. It's wild. I mean, at some point, the whole broadcast is going to be a rolling advertisement. Are they going to run out of advertisers? So that's why I thought, are we in the middle of a bubble here? Because I'm going to pull them up. I got to take the graphic away. It's a little hard to see. I understand. The NFL, I don't think I can take myself off the screen and make it bigger. That's what she said. The NFL is up there, 2.7 bill with that's with ESPN ABC. And then with Fox, it's like 2.3 bill. I gotta go to the eye doctor. NFL dominates this, by the way, with NBC 2.2 bill. With the NFL, CBS 2.1 bill. NFL and YouTube 2 billion. If you're doing the math here, well, we got NBA is the next one. If we do the math here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, almost $12 billion from various networks paid to the NFL to have the right to broadcast their games. And I don't think it's all of them. I mean, maybe the YouTube one is, because they offer the red zone and things I don't know. $12 billion for 17 weeks plus playoffs of football. That's why I asked the question, is there a sports TV deal bubble? That's one league. 5 networks, a combined $12 to $13 billion spent on just the right to broadcast the game. So obviously they bid that much money. Then they have to sell the advertising to recover it, hopefully at a profit. I mean, we just talked, ESPN wasn't making a profit for a while. They had to lay a bunch of people off, got rid of some good people. And then the other issue is who's actually taking on that cost? Well, we are, right? How many streaming services do you need now to watch an entire NFL season? I think 4. I'm pretty sure. And then on a different show on 12 Out Sports, we talked about it. The NBA now, while they sacked TNT, no more Charles Barkley. Now you need 3 different streaming services to watch the NBA. If you wanted to watch we have a comment. I want in on the bubble. He is full disclosure. He is a contributor to 12 Out Sports. Yeah. You don't want a bubble, Michael. These young guys, I tell you don't want to be in a bubble because it'll burst at some point. So, and 12 Out Sports definitely doesn't have 2.7 billion to beat CBS ESPN in the NFL broadcasting world. So we're small potatoes, but something's got to give, right? I mean, we get down to, I wish I could see, I'm going to pull it up on, I got to pull up my Google Drive and thank you, Michael, for chiming in. Anybody can chime in. There's no restrictions. I mean, if it's insane, I won't read it, but If it's threatening, I won't read it. I'm going to bring this up on a different screen so I can read it. So I just got through the NFL, 12 to 13 bill. The NBA on ESPN, $1.4 billion TV contract. The Olympic Games alone was $1.3 billion. NBA on TNT, $1.2 billion, which I think that's going away. Maybe this is the last season. Michael, if you're still watching, chime in. Is the NBA this the last year? He wants in on the money. He says, okay. Don't we all, buddy? Let's see. NFL Amazon Prime, 1.1 bill. That puts the NFL up to 14 billion. March Madness alone, CBS 1.1 bill. NASCAR 1.1 bill. That's a conglomerate of 4 entities. Major League Baseball and Fox, they only paid 730 million. Only, listen to me. Money bags all of a sudden. PGA Tour. Okay, so we get down to the little ones like the US Open. Just the US Open, NBC paid $40 million for. 4-day event, maybe some advertising building up to the event. It's a lot of advertising. So if you ever ask yourself, why does the NFL cut to so many commercials? Well, this is why they cut to so many commercials. There you go. Okay, he answered our question. This is the last year TNT with the NBA. Okay, so after that, you need like 3 different streaming services, I think, to watch the NBA. So, I mean, it's just, and so we're the ones that pay for it. I think I read somewhere at one point, taken back to the NFL, their ticket sales are like 3rd, 4th, or 5th in their revenue sources. I mean, their TV deals are by far their biggest revenue source. And then I think merchandise, of course. So I don't know what these leagues are going to do. I don't know how these networks continue to pay those exorbitant amounts of money to broadcast the games. Who knows? I don't know. They got the money somewhere. I guess I probably should have brought up a graphic of how much how much they're generating from the stream, from the subscribers to their channels to offset that cost. Oh, I forgot one thing about the modern athlete. I had to go back in time here, folks. Wah, wah. I forgot about this. This is something you didn't see back in the day either. I know I'm the old guy. I do bounce around from topic to topic too, though. I can go back. I can recall a topic. Load management. NBA players with 65 plus games played in a season. So if you look at 2010, you had 220 players. Last year you had just about 185. It's not as drastic as I thought it was. It looks like it peaked in 2022 at a peak low, and then it bounced back up. But it bounced back up because they were taking a lot of heat for people bought tickets 2 months in advance. They get to the game and the star's not there. He's taking a day off. So I forgot that topic. We were talking about, is there a sports TV deal bubble? What amount do these networks there have to paying? What amount can these networks pay before they say we can't pay that anymore? Will they just go bankrupt? I don't know what we do. So it's not my problem technically, but I'm just thinking ahead. I'm tired of having 17 different streaming services to watch a game. So there you go. If you're just tuning in, we appreciate it. It's the debut show. This is The Bottom Line with El Heffe. The bottom line is, if you want to comment, you can comment on YouTube or X. You can call the show 330-800-4219 or email me 12ouncesports@gmail.com, and I might even invite you into the studio. So we do this. We work up our way to kickoff for the NFL. I said at the beginning of the show, I'm going to go into the shallow end of that game. I'm not going to get too deep into it. But before we move on to some different things and a look at the Monday Night Football, I was trying to look at my topic list. This one, I got a bottom line on this one for you. Dwayne Wade statue. Who did that? Okay. Who did this? First of all, it doesn't look like Dwayne Wade. Second of all, if you saw his reaction, I don't think he was that impressed. Who made this? obviously it's not easy making statues. I understand that. It's not like I could just wake up one morning and make a statue, but should it not resemble him a little bit more than that? And I don't think he was impressed either, to be honest with you. Michael says Dwayne Wade looked pissed. Okay, Mike, I spelled his. It's okay. He's saying I spelled his name wrong. Well, good for you, Michael. No, I'm just kidding. I'm glad you chimed in. Thank you for watching. How do you let this happen? And how does the athlete not know it was happening? He had no idea. You could tell by his reaction. He was quite shocked. I think he even said something like, "Who is that?" That's embarrassing for the maker, right? That would be embarrassing for the person that made it. The bottom line is this is terrible work. That's my bottom line. And I want you to chime in and let me know. Should they redo it? Maybe they should redo it. I was going to have the video. YouTube wants to red flag people for having videos. I feel like they should redo it. Okay. I guess we had one of the viewers said I thought the viewer was saying that somebody said he did have a say before it got released. I don't know. By his reaction, it didn't look like he knew what he was about to look at. So it's hard to tell. I don't know. Woo. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. We got some on the back end here, some NFL officiating, Monday Night Football preview, and then we're going to pay homage to a Cleveland legend that just passed this weekend. Michael, we appreciate you watching. He's commenting a lot. Someone said, get a 3D printer because these local artists suck. I wouldn't say local artists suck, okay? It's just that this isn't good work. It doesn't look like Dwayne Wade, okay? I watched his whole career. I don't know if you can make a statue look like someone. I mean, I know the bust that got stolen, O.J. Simpson's bust from the Hall of Fame, just 15 minutes from the 12-ounce sports studios. It looked like him. You know, I've been in the Hall of Fame because I'm 15 minutes away. Those resemble those players. I don't think this resembles him at all. So I don't know what happened. I don't know who did that. They done messed it up. But what we're not going to mess up is we're not going to mess up this break. You're going to come back. This is the bottom line with El Heffe. I want you to chime in. We may freeform the last 5 minutes or so, but I got some data to come at you for those that don't like NFL officiating. I got some data you might not like. So stick with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes. This is the bottom line with El Heffe. I'll be right back. Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12-ounce sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them. Yeah. Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right. At 12-ounce sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Oh, I'm showing my age tonight. I like that song. It's like upbeat jazz, on a Monday. It's freezing cold out in Ohio, which makes me, that reminds me too, the sweatshirt I'm wearing, if you're watching on YouTube, we have it embedded in the stream. You can get it cheap, comfortable, warm. I mean, it was frost on the ground here in Ohio the last couple of days. We had the old lady and I had to, throw out some old flowers we had out in the summer. It's getting cold out. It's football weather. But again, don't forget, it's also Sports Equinox Day. So I hope you're celebrating responsibly. Good times. Oh, by the way, before we get into the next topic, if you're trying to get in on my bookie, just saw the commercial. People are betting hard on the Steelers, and I'm going to get into it again. I'm going to go into shallow end with the Steelers game tonight. I'm not going to deep dive. This is not a gambling show, but people are betting hard on the Steelers, and it even moved the line 2 points. So we might not see a good one tonight. We'll see. We got another comment. Is it Michael again? Michael, he's loving the song. Okay. We already have a number one fan. So if you want to chime in too, I know I keep saying it, but it's the debut show. I got to get the word out. You can comment on YouTube or X. You can call the show or you can email the show, whatever you want. Okay. It's up to you. It's up to you. If you email the show, I may send you a link to the studio and you can just join us. How would that feel? I know how I feel about NFL officiating. This has been a hot topic all year. You can see the scores scrolling in the bottom right hand of the screen. Sports has started. The Equinox has started. We only have 18 more minutes. Stick with me, chime in, participate in the show. You won't miss kickoff. We go to 8 o'clock on this. NFL officiating. So I hear it day in and day out. I know Rome has talked about it recently on the Rome Show in the morning on 12 Ounce Sports. I know the guys on What Just Happened have talked about it. So I did a little bit of a, research project today to try to find out, are penalties up? Are they up? And they're not. Spoiler alert. But I went into some numbers. All right, the average NFL game has about 153 plays on average. Last year, they had about 11.6 penalties and 96.5 yards of penalties per game. Those were down 16% from 2015. Now, we just have some prelim data this year. They're slightly up from last year in the first few weeks, but they're not up alarmingly high, okay? It's not like it's trending upwards like in an alarming rate. And again, they have 153 plays per game. They're averaging 11 to 12 penalties per game. I think what you're seeing is, and why the outrage towards officials, well, there's two reasons in my mind. The bottom line, my mind. One, as the game gets more intense, the witching hour, as the Red Zone calls it, these calls get magnified. So, a pass interference or a non-pass interference call with 3 seconds left is going to get a different emotion from fans than, say, one that happened in the first quarter. Okay, because what do we judge these officials on? Their last call or their last non-call. But according to the data, they're not calling an abundantly more amount of penalties per game. Again, last year was only up. Last year was down 16% since 2015. They were averaging 11 and a half penalties a game, 96 and a half yards. I think that it's 9.6 yards per penalty because a lot of these are interference and, they place the ball at the spot of the foul. Defense, this is another interesting stat. Defense, not offense, is seeing more of the drop in called penalties. So the less and less penalties being called on the defense. It's fallen 22% over the last 7 to 8 years. But however, defensive pass interference is up 13% since 2015 and 24% since 2022. Offensive offside, that's a weird. Offensive offsides is up 8%. I mean, that's a false start, right? 13% since 2022. So Oh, here we go. Intentional grounding calls are up 62% since 2015. 62% intentional grounding calls are up. And then, of course, personal fouls are down 23% since 2015. Offensive is down 37, defense is down 17. So I found those stats interesting as the fans get more and more vocal against the officiating in the NFL. It looks like the numbers are coming down. And honestly, I think most people are very vocal about officiating. I want to say because of gambling, but I mean, we want our teams to win, obviously, right? And I'd love for you to chime in. Is it because of the gambling? Is it just because you're feeling cheated? All this talk throughout all the years that they can call holding anytime they want. Now the game's on the line, they call holding. They wanted this team to lose. Who knows? But again, they're trending downwards on the number of penalties called. So I found that interesting. That now, does 12 penalties a game seem high? Yes. But again, there's 153 plays called. So if 10% of the plays are called penalties, that's 15 penalties a game. So they're under 10% of the plays. I know the Browns early in the season were averaging 11 themselves. They led the league. I think they still lead the league in penalties. I think the bottom line here of what's wrong with the NFL is the size of the playbook. The size of the rule book, then the amount of different kind of penalties that they could call. And then it gets confusing. Then they confer, they have a little huddle, and we think, well, these guys don't know what they're doing. I don't think they know what penalty to call. I think there's so many penalties in the rule book that they saw something that they know is an infraction, but they're discussing, is it this? Was it this first before he did this? I think they need to reduce the rule book. I mean, we talked at the beginning, the modern athlete, they're bigger, faster, stronger. They're different species since the rule book was made. Yeah, they have adjusted the holding. They have adjusted the holding calls. You can have it inside the armpit now, but as soon as you get outside or, they try to run away and you're tugging. So they have adjusted a little bit, but I've read the rule book before. It's enormous. I think that's the real problem is these refs sometimes get confused on the field and we just assume they don't know what they're doing. But as far as the number of penalties, it's not up. I didn't show you the data. I don't think I made a graphic for it, but I'm reading it right here. I can send you the link after the show if you ask for it. The numbers are down. I don't know why they're ever confused, though. I'm reading here. They have 7 officials on the field in a typical NFL game. 7. That's a lot. That's a lot of coverage. That's almost 1 per matchup on the field. I mean, 4 more officials, and you could have an official focused on 1 matchup on the field by themselves. Maybe we'd get more accurate then. I don't know. Maybe penalties would go up because they'd see more. I think if you want to fix the penalty situation, reduce the number of refs, okay? And then they can't see everything. Because I think you either have to adjust the rule book or diminish how many refs there are. Because these guys are going to commit infractions because they're moving so fast, especially the targeting one. Half the time targeting, the guy didn't know. He wasn't purposely trying to take somebody's head off, but there you go. Numbers are down, folks. So if you're one of those that gets mad at the officials, I just want you to know the average number of penalties is down since 2015 and drastically down in some specific categories, like I mentioned. Personal fouls, 23%. Where was the big one? Intentional grounding is up 62%. Quarterbacks are just chucking it into the stands. There you go. I said we'd go shallow end Monday Night Football. I appreciate you watching. This is the first ever. We'll do this every Monday night, building up to Monday Night Football. After football season, I don't even like to think of what's going to go on in my life, but we'll build up to some other sporting event each Monday. But you can participate going forward. May not be tonight, but in the future, mark this down. I'll show this every show. You're more than welcome to chime in, unless you just want to listen to me ramble, which is fine too. That's the bottom line. Let's get into a little bit of Monday Night Football preview. Okay, the New York Football Giants against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steel curtain. Interesting stats here, okay? Offense. Giants rank 31st, Steelers 26th. Defense. Giants rank 7th, Steelers rank 3rd. Passing. Giants rank 27th, Steelers rank 30th. Rushing. Giants ranked 28th, Steelers ranked 15th. That's the only category where it looks like the Steelers have a distinct advantage. Okay, rushing game. Last time they played was 2020. The Steelers won by 10. So the rushing game is what going to, and it kind of reflects in the numbers here. It opened at -4 for the Steelers. Now the Steelers are -6. They follow the money. Over under is 37.5, folks. 37.5. That's pretty low. Money line -270 for the Steelers, +220 for the Giants. Of course, the Giants have a little issue at quarterback. A lot of fans calling for Daniel Jones to be pulled. I don't have really an opinion on that. Look at the betting money. We get into a little bit of everything. We got into the offense and defensive rankings. Betting. Steelers, 79% of bets, 78% of the money is on the Steelers. Whoa, Nelly. That's a big advantage in the public betting sector. Steelers are 3-2 in their last 5 against the spread. Giants are 2-3. So the Steelers do have a winning record against the spread. I've said on other shows on 12 Ounce Sports, I don't like spreads in the NFL. I don't trust them. Too many games come down to right at the spread number. I like money lines, and if you are on the right book, you can parlay them with props. You can take alternative spreads. The spreads Vegas picks, I think they're set up for you to lose. I really do. It's at 6, 26-20. Sounds like it could be the final. So, I mean, these are going to be low. This is going to be low scoring. We already over under is 37.5. The Steelers have an advantage on the ground. They're going to run it a lot. Maybe you could do the over under. You could parlay that with the money line. I don't know. I just don't like spreads in the NFL. Some tidbits here. Giants have allowed successful plays on 36% of rush attempts against motion this season. That's tied best in the NFL. So if the Steelers run motion and run a running play, based on this, the Giants are the best at stopping that running play. Meanwhile, the Steelers have run successful plays on 37% of rush attempts with motion. That's tied 8th worst. So if the Steelers are, it's too late to game plan. They're on the field getting ready for kickoff here in 22 minutes, and we'll be off the air by kickoff, so don't leave me. It would behoove the Steelers, just an old man word, behoove the Steelers to not run motion for run plays, according to that, right? That's some good insight right there. Keep an eye on that. If the Steelers are in motion and they run the ball, the Giants are the best in the league at stopping it. A tidbit for the Steelers. They've allowed 3.4 points per red zone drive this season, tied second best in the NFL. The Giants have scored 3.3 points per red zone drive this season, third worst in the NFL. So that'll be the key. Can the Giants get points when they get in the red zone? They're averaging the least per red zone trip, or third least in the league in red zone trips. Steelers are best at holding teams away from the end zone. So some interesting tidbits there if you are a gambler. If you're a gambler, MyBookie is the sponsor of the network, but that's about the only insight I had on that. We'll go back to a different topic. Steelers coming off a win over the Jets, 37-15. Giants lost to the Eagles, 28-3. So there you go. Good times. Major League Baseball. The World Series is tonight, too. Who you got? Yankees surely can't. Don't call me Shirley. Surely can't get swept, right? The Yankees can't get swept. Say it ain't so. I'm going to pull that up real quick. I want to see the starters. And I think I saw something where Aaron Judge, you can chime in. We're down to the last couple minutes. Aaron Judge might be being looked at for PEDs. Interesting. Lineups. Pitcher. Where's the pitchers? Where are the pitchers? There we go. Walker Buehler for the Dodgers. He's 0-1 with a 6 ERA in the postseason. Clark Schmidt for the Yankees, 3.86 ERA. So there you go. Dodgers lead 2-0. That's a big one. We're running out of time. Sports Equinox tonight. It's like a holiday for us sports fans. So I'm looking forward to it. NHL full swing. This is one of those nights. Both TVs in the man cave are going to be running tonight. We're going to use a little extra electricity in the man cave at El Jefe's. Got to watch the NHL, got to watch the NBA, got to watch the NFL, and definitely got to watch the World Series. Sounds like I need 4 TVs. I'm glad you watched. I want to go into one last thing. By the way, I am a Browns fan. This is just a point. I didn't even have a full topic for this. This is something weird teams do. And Ben Axelrod, I think he's a media personality, said the Browns wasted an entire season due to sunk cost fallacy, and everyone could see it happening in real time. Just totally maddening. Why do teams do that? I mean, we spent all this money on him. We have to play him. We know he's going to be better at this position for our team makeup, but we're going to play this guy because we've paid him all this money. Well, you can't go back in time and correct your error of overspending for someone. But don't you want to win now? But the Browns, the sunk cost fallacy left Jameis Winston out of the lineup. I mean, maybe they didn't think he was the better quarterback. I don't know. But I wanted to preface that with the Browns because the Browns lost a great broadcaster and Jimmy Donovan over the weekend before the game. And then they, of course, had that huge upset against the Ravens. If you don't know who Jim Donovan is, look him up. He was known as the voice of the Browns. Amazing human being, just an overall great guy. We lost him too soon. I think he was in his late 60s. Of course, cancer got him. So we're going to give him a full, solid minute. Jimmy Donovan, we love you. I love you for watching. This is the Bottom Line with El Jefe. It's going to be every Monday night at 7 p.m. Again, building up to Monday Night Football until football season's over. And then we'll find another reason to go live at 7 p.m. on Mondays. But again, going forward, feel free to chime in, comment on YouTube or X, or you can call the show. I'm not going to leave the number up now because the show's almost over. Or you can email us at 12ouncesports at 12ouncesports@gmail.com. All right. We're going to have a little moment of silence for Jimmy Donovan. Hug your loved ones. Time goes too quick. Thanks for watching.